Did you manage to record everything that came out of your field this year? Do you have perfect harvest records of each crop from each bed? Well, if things got a little out of hand, or a lot out of hand, and you don't have those records, you're not out of luck. I'm Dan Brisebois from the Farmer Spreadsheet Academy, and today we're going to look at how to use your sales records as harvest records. You can find a copy of the spreadsheet in this tip at spreadsheet.farm/FSA077. It's not the most elaborate spreadsheet, but if you want it, it's there. If you use an online platform like Shopify, Square, or Localine to track all your sales at farmers markets or just take orders for different kinds of deliveries, there are reports in those platforms that let you look at your data different ways. So in Shopify, one report, so the report's on the far left, and one report you can choose is the sales by product variant SKU. And in this, you can choose a date. So maybe I chose beginning of April right up to the current date, September 20th. Apply that. It'll show you the net quantity that you've sold and the gross sales that you've sold during that time period. You can then go up to the upper right corner and click on Export. You can export your file as a CSV file. You can open that CSV file into Google Sheets or in Excel, and then you can use the quantities there as harvest records. Now, today's tip is you can assume that the amount that you've sold is an amount that you've harvested. Now, you've harvested more, so it's an under approximation. However, it's a number that's real, that you definitely harvested at least this amount of those crops. Now, if you track your records on paper, you can do something similar. Probably you have a sheet for each market that you go to where you record what you brought and what you brought back, and you can then know what you sold. Now you can add in beneath this each of your subsequent markets. So here's the May 21st market, the May 28th market, the June 4th market. Just add them one on top of each other, and you'll have all this information here. Next, highlight everything by clicking on the little square left of the A and above the 1, and so you've highlighted everything. Go to Insert, choose Pivot Table, choose New Sheet, Create, and then on this new sheet in the far right in the Pivot Table editor, you can drag the crop over to rows, so you see all the crops that have been brought to market. You can then bring your units over. You can see what units they were sold in. If you don't want to have these funny lines, unclick the Show Totals. And then you could do either the start quantity and drag that over to values, or you could do the sold quantity and drag that over to values, or either. And so here you have two different numbers. This is the total amount of each crop that you brought to market during the growing season, and this is the total amount of each crop that you sold at market. Now, you can choose which number you're actually going to trust in this case. Some things that are perishable, if you didn't sell them at market, they probably wound up in the compost bin, and so you could rely on what you actually brought to market for those. In other cases of something like garlic or onions that you may have brought home and then brought to another market, maybe in that case rely on your sold quantity numbers. And so with this, you can put together an estimate what you harvested from the field. And again, it's going to be a little bit less than you probably actually harvested. But it's way better than not having any numbers at all. And this is a really good starting point for you to do your crop planning and figure out what you're going to grow next year. If you enjoyed this farm spreadsheet tip, subscribe to this channel and you'll get more farm spreadsheet goodness in the future. And until then, happy farming and happy planning.